Jason Lumber and Alex Capper-Murdoch on the show this afternoon. Good afternoon to all our listeners there. Hope it's not too warm out there for you. We're out on the roof just doing our weather forecast a couple of minutes before 2, isn't it?
We were, and we decided that the weather forecast today is hot but lovely with less humidity than there has been for the last
There's a
week.
lot of weather people out there, I noticed, and they all had their little notebooks and just going, hot today.
Is that what they were holding?
Now, I know where it's been really, really warm, and that is at the El Maha. And we had the pleasure of actually broadcasting from there some time back and on an outside broadcast. And the hospitality and everything really, it's just a great couple of days there. We just had a super time. And with us today, we're very pleased to have David Muras, who is the executive chef from El Maha. David, quite a long time we haven't seen you, but welcome to our studios.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Now, remind me how long ago that was that we were at El Maha. I can't remember. Now, was it a year ago? Or?
Yeah, pretty much a year ago, yes.
And we broadcast from the super room,
the presidential suite.
Well, of course. I couldn't have accepted anything less than that. And
for sure.
It was a lovely time. Now, you've been there for a number of years. 3 years, is it?
Close to 2 years now.
Yeah, close to 2 years. And before that, you were at Alaka Beach in Fujairah.
At the Meridian Alaka Beach.
I must say I'm very impressed with, obviously, you have a passion for food, but you have a passion for travel as well. Having worked in some of the most amazing places. You have been to the UK, you've worked and lived in the UK, you've worked and lived in Ireland, you've worked and lived in Taiwan and the Philippines. Yes. What brought you to the Middle East then? Or how did you get here?
Well, I think it was a natural progression for many of the chefs. The Middle East is a must do, a stop that you must have on your CV, and it started out as just wanting to try it, and I was very well impressed once I landed here, and I think the food scene is spectacular here, and also the multinational guests are a delight to try to please. Yeah.
Now, we were just talking. Alex was saying earlier on there, just whilst our news was on, that you actually were in a restaurant, an Italian restaurant in Guildford, of all places.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. And they all thought you were mad there. Why was that?
Basically, being French, and I just walked in, actually, handed in my CV to the owners who were having an espresso by their bar.
As they do, yeah.
As they do. And they looked at me and they say I was mad because never a Frenchman would apply for a job in an Italian restaurant.
In England.
Yeah. How did you manage? I mean, did you know the Italian dishes? I mean, was this all part of like your, learning to be a chef?
Well, at that point in my career, I had only touched on traditional French pastry departments, and this was a time in my career where I wanted to branch out to other kind of the other sections in the kitchen. So I wanted to ultimately run the whole kitchen and then the whole F&B department, which is what I'm doing right now. So. To allow me to have all this experience of various cuisine and everything, I just wanted to. Italian cuisine is obviously, after French cuisine, it's the second best cuisine in the world.
Did you find? I mean, there is a huge difference. If you look on the map, of course, of Europe, you can see that there's France, and just down the road is Italy.
Yes.
But really, from a cuisine situation, it's totally different. So, was it difficult for you to suddenly take on this new role as working as a Frenchman working in an Italian restaurant in England?
Surprisingly, not so different and not so difficult, because when we mention Italian restaurant, everybody thinks about the pasta and the pizza. However, that restaurant was way different. They were doing small traditional dishes from every region of Italy, which are very surprisingly very similar to a lot of the things we do in France.
Okay, so you coped very well, and of course, as you say, really everything really is an experience. And different cuisines, and it's brought you now to the Middle East, and you've been here for a number of years. As we move really on to Al Maha, just for the benefit of some of our people, our lovely listeners out there, that probably some of them wondering where it is and what it is.
Well, it's on the on a Dubai Al Ain road. It's about halfway to Al Ain. It's pretty much halfway to Al Ain. And it sits in the middle of the Dubai Desert Conservation Area. So, as well as a resort, we're actually in the middle of a natural reserve where the Arabian oryx is the last sanctuary for the Arabian oryx, which is quite spectacular. When you get to the resort, you actually get to meet those wild animals before you.
How many are there? Because I know that your guys there took us around, and we saw a few, but maybe they were like hiding from us. I'm not sure.
Yes.
But how many are there?
There are time of the years where it's, they shy away from the resort a bit, but when it's really hot, like right now, they tend to crowd around the resort.
Okay.
And I think we can look at about 600 head count. Yeah.
The last time I went, actually, they were everywhere, and beautiful, and it is a beautiful resort anyway. Yeah.
And of course with that is the oryx, of course, being well looked after. I mean, otherwise it's going to really go into extinction, isn't it?
Yes, that was the purpose of the conservation effort, to try to pull the breed out of the extinction limit, which has been achieved a few months ago. Actually, the breed has actually came out of the extinction probability.
I think Sheikh Zayed had an enormous control over this. I mean, it's something that he took on.
Very true, yes.
Yeah.
It was instigated by Sheikh Zayed, who actually, I think the first part of the breeding was done in Arizona, where they saved some of the last few remaining true Arabian oryx, and then when there was a decent group of oryx, they actually brought them back to the Middle East, to that conservation area.
So you have the oryx, and of course you've got the falconry as well. That's quite a delight. I mean, I don't know about you, Alex, but they woke us up right. Well, they didn't wake us up. I mean, we got up about 5:30, went down there, and about 5:45 there was all the various falcons, and that's quite an interesting thing. And of course, then you've got the camels as well. So it's quite a sort of desert feel, isn't it? If people go there for their breaks, their weekend breaks, and so on.
Very true. Yes, we have a lot of animals that you would not see in other resorts or any other place in the UAE. Actually, we also have pure Arabian thoroughbreds. They actually, we make them available for horse riding for experienced riders.
I think we should go for a weekend, Jace.
Well, the break's coming up in a minute. Now, what about the actual the accommodation there? I mean, we'll get to the restaurant in a moment. Let's the accommodation again. Just paint a picture for our listeners.
Accommodation is basically, we have 37 villas, which we call Bedouin villas. So they're very much in keeping with the style of the Middle East, of how the tents used to look. From a distance, you would actually think it's a Bedouin encampment. And then we have also 2 larger suites, which are called royal suites. We have also 2 Emirate suites. And we have the fantastic presidential suite from which you broadcasted.
Exactly. And also there, of course, for corporate events as well, you have a very well-equipped conference center.
Very much, yes. State-of-the-art conference center. It's a room that can be split into several different function areas. So we provide, obviously, the coffee breaks for that. The lunch are provided by us, and state-of-the-art AV system. So large screens, Bose sound system. All of that is available for companies who would like to come and do. We've done quite a few weddings. We do corporate also. Our books are actually filling up with quite a bit of corporate events.
It's not. I don't think you can just say really that it's a novelty. That would be the wrong description. But let's put it this way: it's certainly very different than other places?
Well, from the feedback that we gathered the last few months, the CEOs of companies who brought their team to our resort mentioned that the impact and the output is a lot better because of taking the team out of the city, and it feels like you're in a different country while you're still in Dubai.
Indeed. Alex, your cup of tea?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been there a couple of times actually working. I would love to spend some time there. I think it's a beautiful resort. It's actually one of those resorts that when you do want to get away but you don't want to travel, great distances, it's probably perfect. It's ideal. It gives you the opportunity to get out of the city but not too far away. You really feel very relaxed when you're there. Beautiful surroundings. As you said, the wildlife is stunning, because I actually think it's something that we're missing in this region anyway, unless you head out into the empty quarter or, towards Al Ain. Beautiful. One of the things I'm sure I will have to try at some point is the various restaurants that are around Al Maha.
Sure. Now we're going to be talking to Chef David Muras again after the break, and we'll be popping into the nice big restaurant there and into the kitchen, finding out about some of those wonderful recipes, and a chance for you as well to think about going, sometimes not just for the accommodation, just to go there for a superb lunch with great surroundings. All coming up on Travel Today on Dubai Eye 103.8. Here with Alex Kappa-Murdoch and our guest this afternoon, Chef David Muras, who is from the Al Maha Resort, that beautiful place with all the oryx and the falcons and the lovely horses and everything else there, and of course the superb restaurant and its cuisine. David, you've been there for a little while now, and indeed, at one time, of course, it was, for people that wanted to go there with the accommodation, staying overnight, staying for a week or whatever they wanted, and of course, along with dining out, or in fact, with room service. Now, that's still ongoing, but there have been some changes.
There has, yeah. When we took over the property 2 years ago, we really wanted to make it accessible to the wider public. So now lunch and dinner are actually open for outside visitors. And since last May, we actually implemented some daily package. So you can actually come to the resort, do some activities in the morning, have lunch with us, lounge by the pool in the afternoon, and then go home in time for dinner, or you could actually stay around for dinner even.
Okay, now, and a big thing that you're going to be changing, you're talking about sorts of various cuisine earlier on, and we just touched on the soups just before the break, but you're going to extend, there's going to be a new menu there.
Yes, we are. Our Aldi One menu, our restaurant is called Aldi One. And that menu is going to change by the 15th of October. And also from the 1st of October onwards, we're actually implementing a new setting by the pool at our spa, because we think the spa is spectacular. It has an infinity pool also. And we are going to set up a traditional Arabic restaurant where we serve grilled meats, we serve all the Middle Eastern cuisine that you're familiar with.
You mentioned also just now that which is seemed to be filling up the diary now as regards the weddings and I suppose birthday celebrations and things like that. So that must keep you quite busy.
Yes, it does. We do have books that are getting filled up with those events like weddings and product launches also. We've done some last year for big automobile companies. We also have this campsite in the desert where we can do traditional camp dinners. We have the belly dancing going on there. We have the traditional three-piece Arabic band. We have some tanura dancers coming. So it's a very, very traditional and very unique setting.
I was just thinking, along came the camels. I mean, the camels came that evening, and you're not talking about one or two. It's quite a few camels that they get involved with all the visitors there, and they come along, and of course you can get on the camel. But I think I counted about maybe more than 12, I think. There.
At the moment, we have 16 camels.
16 camels,
yes.
yeah.
And this is part of the activity package that in the evening we actually take all our residents to secluded spot in the dunes where we serve what we call our sundowner activity. So you watch the sun go down, and obviously from our side, on the F&B side, we are providing snacks, and we're providing champagne in the middle of the desert.
Lovely indeed. Well, what's just going back to the menu though? This menu. So what new things are you actually bringing in?
It's actually quite daunting because the menu we had until now has been extremely popular, and changing a very popular menu like this is not an easy thing to do. At the moment, every single day we are bringing in new suppliers to show us some of the latest product that they have. Some, I must say, some of the products that we are now able to get our hands on are spectacular. We tasted a brand new Wagyu ribeye this morning, which was out of this world.
Where do you get your inspiration from? Because obviously, suppliers will bring, or looking at new suppliers is one element, but you've travelled a lot. You've also won a very high award here, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But where does the main influence come when you're looking at setting up a new menu?
Actually, the way I approach the changing of the new menu is that along with my really good team, I have a fantastic team along with me at Al Maha. I actually let them actually brainstorm also, because what I want to bring to Al Maha is some more authentic cuisine from different parts of the world. So one of my sous chefs is from Kenya, the other one is from Poland. I'm French. We have some Bangladeshi, we have some Filipinos, we have many different influences in the kitchen, and that shows through the menu, because the main restaurant, we only have one restaurant as a main restaurant. So the menu has to reflect a lot of variety to make everybody happy, to keep everyone, all our guests entertained culinary-wise during a 4 or 5 day stay. And so the approach for the new menu will be pretty much the same, of getting ideas from all the team members and then trying to implement that with the best product that we have available here in Dubai.
How long would you keep a menu for generally?
The last menu we kept it for a full year. Actually, our business includes a lot of repeat guests. I think it's about 35% repeat customers that we have. Yeah. It's quite it's very big for a resort of this caliber, and basically the repeat customer will come once a year.
And where are they coming from, David? I mean, a lot of them, obviously, they said that 35% return their repeat business. Where are they coming from?
We have a lot of local expats. We have also a lot of Emirati customers who come to our resort. And I must say the split is varies between the weekends and the week. During the weekday, we have a lot of overseas expats, a lot of overseas customers, who are coming along and experiencing the traditional settings. And at the weekend, we do fill up big time with our local expats.
And of course, around the time as regards sort of the Eid breaks and things like that, must be some of your busier times as well.
Yes, it's fairly busy. Everyone is trying to enjoy their long weekend and as good a getaway as possible. So Al Maha is definitely on the map for that.
Now, if somebody was actually thinking about, I mean, Alex had been there in a working capacity on entertainment side, but if people wanted to, say for example, somebody hadn't been there before, yeah, you can see the photographs and everything on the internet, and but could somebody be shown around if somebody came there and they just wanted to take a look around? And
most definitely, yes. Yeah? Anybody driving by on the Dubai Island Road can call us in advance, because actually since it's a conservation reserve, there is quite a heavy security at the entrance.
Yeah.
However, if you give us a call in advance, a visit can be arranged anytime during working hours, definitely.
Okay, all right. So that's certainly one to. I'm just thinking about going back and doing another broadcast there, David. I think
I think that would be a great idea.
It'd be a very good idea indeed. But we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves last time there. It was a great broadcast and a lovely place to broadcast from. You've also, I'm just looking really at your background. Really, you tend to have moved around quite a bit over the years. I'm just looking at here, the Tewkesbury Park, even at Tewkesbury Park Hotel. Am I right in saying, is that in Gloucestershire?
Tewkesbury Park Hotel in Gloucestershire. Yes.
Okay. And then also at the Wellington's Quay, the Clarence Hotel.
Clarence Hotel, owned by Bono in Dublin. Yeah.
So you've really sort of travelled around. I don't suppose really there's any sort of cuisine that you don't know now. I mean, if you were talking earlier on, we have a bit of a chuckle about a Frenchman being in an Italian restaurant in England, but you managed to take that on. And I suppose really there's not many cuisines I don't think you don't know.
Yes, that's what I highlighted a few weeks ago on social media. Where, by the way, we're very strong on social media. We're actually tweeting every single evening. We share with our followers what will be the special of the evening. I think that's quite a good account to follow because it's certainly mouth-watering from what I heard. But a few weeks ago, someone from my team made something which I had never tasted before, and it was quite impressive because when you been around the world and touch on so many different cuisine, it's quite rare. Yes.
Okay, so if Pete, now you say that you're well into the company is well into the social media. Now, if people want to find out more about this luxury resort and the chance to go there and a chance to actually, whether it's overnight accommodation and eating there or it's just going for the meal, where will they find out more information?
Well, our Twitter account is very active. It's @almaha_resort.
Okay.
Myself, I'm tweeting from Chef David Muras on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a Facebook page. We have the official Twitter page. Our website is near enough finished right now.
Okay.
It was getting redesigned to include all of our latest offerings, so I think it's pretty much there now.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, those are the greatest place to go and have a look.
Alex actually mentioned just now that the award, which we didn't really get to.
Yeah, 2010 you won the award for Best Sous Chef in the Middle East, so congratulations, well done.
Thank you so much. Yes, it's always great to be recognized, to have... for the resort as a whole, actually, since I think it was last March that we stepped up to #1 on TripAdvisor, and we've never been taken off our perch ever since. So I think that's a great achievement for the whole team back in Al-Maha, and we won several awards throughout 2012, and we're looking forward to hopefully win a few more within the next few months.
I'm sure you will. This is indeed a pleasure to see you in our studios this time round. Last time we were in your neck of the woods, and maybe we'll come back and form another great outside broadcast with Dubai Eye at the Al Maha. Executive Chef and David Muras is our guest today. Thanks indeed for joining us. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure was mine.
There we are. Coming up also today, that Al Maha. That's the place. If you just tuned our way, a lovely place. It really is. Find out more by checking them out on the website.